A new humanity will shine.
Good morning, friends. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for your presence today. We have 45 friends at this point. Thank you very much. Thanks to the Creator, the good who does good, for bringing us together today, Sunday, April 19. For our friends, for our society, and for the opportunity to connect today in the daily work on the spiritual path. Thank you, dear friends, for your effort to be here, each one of you. A warm welcome to our guest today. Special time before our upcoming Congress gathering in the 10 May 29 31st, 2026. So let us use this time to strengthen our unity, our intention as one man with one heart, friends. Remember, invite your tens. Open your cameras as much as possible. This is a special time of connection, as we know, every Sunday, and for that we are grateful. Let's hear our opening intention, please, John Kay. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. We're going to be reading from Valhalla Salam, letter number 4. You lack nothing except to go out to the field that the Lord has blessed and collect all those flaccid organs that have drew from your soul and join them into one single body. In that complete body, the Creator will instill the Shekhinah divinity incessantly, and the high streams of light will be a never-ending fountain. L'chaim, friends.
L'chaim. Thank you very much, John, for that opening intention. Beautiful. Beloved friends, we are grateful today. Oh, we have 78 friends and going on. Thank you for that. Great sample of connection. Friends, we are grateful to have today, as you saw in the announcement, Asaf will be with us today as the head of the BB English Department to help us better understand the new tuition-free structure system. As always, Asaf brings not only clarity and genuine care for the friends of the English Kli and the growth of the English Department. We truly appreciate his support, his willingness to guide us through these changes with understanding and patience. So thank you, Asaf, for being here with us today and for all you do and all the work with your team in the English Department. Go ahead. Go ahead, great friend. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hello friends. Hi everyone. Can you hear me, see me well? Yeah? All right. Awesome. Great. Okay, so yeah, as it was mentioned, there is a new tuition fee, which is a new financial foundation really for our organization. And that's where I think we should start. Recognizing that what is the essence of what we're talking about here. And that's the foundation for all our spiritual work. That's really what we're building here. Let me share my screen and we'll go through this together. Yes. All right. So I have prepared a few minutes of explanation. Let's first kind of go through them. I'll try to do this, slowly and as understandably as possible. And if you have any questions, you can already throw them in the chat, but so you don't forget, but maybe I won't get to them right away. Maybe we should first kind of complete the general overview and then go into questions, but we should have time for questions too. The goal is to really clarify this transition to everyone. So make sure that you all exactly understand why it's happening, what exactly is happening, how it's going to play out for you specifically. Okay, so this is the goal. So can you see my screen now? Perfect. Great. So let's start from the foundation. Rabash writes to us in The Purpose of Society, we have gathered here to lay a foundation. So I was just reading to you from Rabash Purpose of Society. Let's read it again. We have gathered here to lay a foundation for building a society for all those interested in walking the path and method of Bala Sulam. Let's read it again. We've gathered here to lay a foundation. That's what we're here for. That's what all the people who are in BB are for, to lay the foundation for building a society for all those interested in walking the path and method of Bar Sulam that leads us to become Adam, to become similar to the Creator. So we exactly actually are discussing the first part of the sentence. We've gathered here to lay a foundation. We need a foundation for our spiritual work. And that foundation is just like the meeting that we're having now. Everything that we do on our corporeal level of existence in order to build a spiritual tower that reaches all the way up to the Creator, right? But the basis, the foundation, is first of all the basic physical framework. In order for us, for example, to have this Zoom meeting, we need to make sure that someone purchases a Zoom account for us, right? And we also need to make sure that there is a technological infrastructure for us to be able to participate in the lessons and to have an arvut system where all the tens can participate as tens in the lesson. And there's a building in Petah Tikva that is broadcasting all those lessons and making sure that there are people who can produce and create and subtitle and translate and broadcast and so on and so forth. So all of that is foundation for us to do our spiritual work of connection. And the tuition fee that is part of that. So what did we have so far? Until now, everyone who's here, who's joining the Arvut system, the lessons through the Arvut system, has been paying for the Arvut system. That means that we were all, so far, all of us participated in covering that side of our foundation, that side of our society, which is a very important piece, the Arvut system and the technological infrastructure for broadcast. That is essentially what our monthly payment for the Arvut system serves for. And that's a very important, critical piece, but it's not everything. Beyond the Arvut system, there are actually many, many other expenses that BB has in order to sustain itself, in order to sustain the foundation for our spiritual work. These are systems and equipment and subscriptions and manpower that needs to be paid in order to run everything that we are getting from BB. That includes all of the daily lessons, the morning lesson, the afternoon lesson. You know, there's at least 5 or 6 hours every day of broadcast that requires content work and production work, and all kinds of systems and equipment and services and vendors that we're paying for. Of course, this has to do also with our setting up all our systems for translation, for subtitling, our archives, our servers. There's a physical center in Petah Tikva that I think most of you have been to in our congresses. That is a 4-level building that we own, and of course there's electricity to pay for and water bill to pay for and insurance and municipal taxes and cleaning and air conditioning and security and cyber security. There's of course there's also Kabbalah Media and all that holds all of our content, and we have to keep maintaining and paying for servers and maintenance and so forth. There's work that some people are doing to support all the levels of students. We want to support all the levels of students, including ourselves. And so only the beginning students, there's people who take care of them in our system, KABU, but after that, we need to bring them into our community, and we need people to support that as well. So that means they're also using all of the systems that we are using. There's more and more, but the bottom line, the picture I'm trying to share with you is very simple. Our payments so far for the Arvut system only paid for this technological infrastructure for broadcast called the Arvut system and a few other systems supporting that. So our payments paid for that, but all the rest, everything that I mentioned so far, this was carried mostly by donors and maser payers. And that has been working for many years for BB. This is how what he learned from Rabash and how he set up our whole group, where in the past everyone who came participated in paying Maser as well, and that was basically the main resource for everything that we needed to do. Over the years, we grew not just in terms of our needs, which means we have more and more expenses because we need more resources because we have more needs, but we also have thousands of people on different levels of involvement, different levels of commitment, and not everyone has come to the point where they've made the spiritual decision of paying Maser. Now, paying Maser, this is another topic. We're not going to get into this now. There was a lesson about this today. We heard 40 minutes from Rav about this. Mushi and Aviv spoke about this if you were in today's lesson. Yesterday, actually, for North American times, yesterday night. So early morning for me. So clearly that's a whole topic in itself, but the bottom line is that paying Maser is a spiritual decision. It has to do with one's free choice. It has to do with one's personal calculation with regards to the Creator. We never look into what each and every one also is paying, whether it's actually 10% of their net income or not, which is what Maser is. But so far, for many years, the organization relied on that in order to keep doing our activities, both to serve ourselves and to do dissemination for new people. That was the main resource. Because we grew a lot, and not everyone today has come to the point where they made that decision to pay Maser, and our needs are constantly growing, which is a good thing. We're moving to a model that is independent of a person's spiritual decision to pay Maser or not. That's one. Two, it's much more stable and consistent. And that allows BB to, safely grow the organization, serve our needs, serve our students, keep our broadcasts happening, keep our building happening with everything that it entails, and do so in a way that is reliable, stable, consistent. That's the idea of the tuition model from a financial point of view. And I would say there's also a spiritual point of view to this, because it means that now everyone will be equal partners. Still, everyone will have the choice, and that there's a difference between the tuition fee and the Maser. Everyone has their own free choice, which is a spiritual act of paying Maser or not. That's up to every person. But at least on the corporeal foundation level of the organization, all of us will be equal partners. That's the idea of the new tuition fee. Just like every one of us in the world is paying for the Arvut system, that's just a piece of what of all of the infrastructure that BB needs to maintain in order to continue broadcasting even the lessons, right? So that's the idea, to expand the ownership and partnership of everything that we need for our spiritual work. So this is the idea behind the new model that I'm going to talk about. If you already are paying Maser or donating regularly to the organization, that will mean a lot about how much you will pay in this new tuition fee. I'll get to this in just a few minutes. But for now, let me just summarize so far. We're moving from a situation where everyone pays only for the Arvut system and only donors and Maser payers pay for all the rest. We're moving to a system where everyone pays for everything. And so the load is shared equally. And Maser, regardless of that, is every person's free choice. And spiritual development, everyone's spiritual development, is in their hands in that regard. So, how is this going to work? because we're talking about all of our students, everyone in the world participating, we had to come up with a differential pricing model. In simpler words, it means that there's tiers. People in different areas of the world are living with a different cost. They have a different cost of living. And so in order for everyone to participate equally, it has to be some sort of a differential model, because a person in, say, Cameroon or Nigeria doesn't have the same kind of income as someone in New York, and not the same costs of living and so on. And so after putting all of that together and taking into account all of the countries in the world and so forth, we have 3 tiers. And the first group is a group of everyone who lives in a country or an economy where there's a high cost of living. Just like the US, just like Israel, just like Western Europe. These are classic examples. And on that tier, the high cost of living, the tuition fee, the monthly tuition fee is 180 shekels, which are today almost exactly $60. Then there's the second group, which is 90 shekels or $30, and the lowest, the group C, which is the lowest cost of living, places like areas in India and Africa and so forth, where the tuition fee will be 60 shekels, which is $20. It's not for no reason that I mentioned the tiers in shekels, because the organization functions, the headquarters functions from Israel, and after looking into it, and by the way, losing a lot of money in the last few years because we didn't do that, and consulting as a nonprofit, we have to have a finance committee and consult with it and so forth. This was the conclusion that it'll be most appropriate for us, a nonprofit acting out of Israel, to make sure that the tuition fee is pegged to the shekel. That means that basically the tiers, these 3 tiers, are always according to the shekel, and once in 6 months, we'll look at the rates and update them accordingly. So that means that in the new tuition fee, if I live somewhere in North America, I belong to Group A, and that means that I will need to pay $60 per month to be a partner and equally share the load for everything, all of our infrastructure, everything that we need for BB to continue as an organization that continues teaching and sharing the method of Bala Sulam, Rabash, and Rav on a regular basis, and growing our organization for all of the needs that we need and that are growing. $60, that is probably the amount, the monthly amount that is relevant to most of the people here, because everyone here probably belongs to Group A. Now, that's not where it ends, because if you are already contributing, then you're going to get a very, very significant discount. Why? First, let's explain why. Because let's go back to the beginning. Why this transition, right? Because so far, everything besides the Arvut system and the technological infrastructure for broadcast, everything else was carried by the donors and maser payers, essentially. That money was used to do everything else, to finance everything else. And the people who are today donating or paying maser regularly, they will get a discount that will make it very close to what they're already paying today for the Arvut system. It will still be a little more than that, and I'll show an example right away. But first, let me explain the structure of the discount. So we are now behind the scenes making great efforts all over the world, wherever there's a BB account, where people in South America, in Europe, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Israel, and of course in North America. Wherever people are donating in different ways, we are working now to create a global system that connects all of that information in an automatic flow so that whenever you are paying, whenever your billing day happens, our system, and it's still in the works. That's why this transition hasn't started yet for us, for everyone who's in North America. It only starts in 2 days from now in limited places where that system has been set up. Basically, all of the donations and maser payments that I paid in the last year, in the last 12 months before the billing day. Let's say tomorrow, I'll explain this.
Hold on, babe.
Let's say that tomorrow is my billing day, meaning I need to pay my $60 for the tuition fee for BB's new tuition model, right? And tomorrow is the day. So the system will automatically look at all of my donations and maser payments in the last 12 months. It will sum it up, and based on that, I will get a discount. When will I get a discount? If the sum total of my donations and maser payments in the last 12 months before the billing day, if that equals to or greater than my annual tuition, that means I get an automatic 55% discount. In practice, that means that if you were contributing on a regular basis, paying maser, you will most likely, 99%, you have crossed that annual tuition fee. I'll show an example in a second, and you will get the 55% discount, which means that in practice, you'll be paying close. If you're already a donor, a maser payer regularly, you will probably pay very close to what you've paid so far. And here's an example. So the new monthly tuition for everyone who's here, probably belongs to Group A, is $60 a month. Again, that pays for everything now, not just the Arvut system. The Arvut system is included, but everything else as well. And so that, for a person in Group A, this costs $60 a month to be part of that, to pay the monthly tuition for BB. That means that your annual tuition is 60 times 12. That's $720. When comes your billing day and our system is, the BB system is supposed to charge your, say, credit card for $60. It will go through the past 12 months and look at everything, anything you've donated or any maser payments you've made. And let me clarify, we're building a system that is very comprehensive. The idea is that even if you are, let's say, living in New York, and one time you made a donation there, you've paid directly to BB America. We have an entity in America, a nonprofit called BB America. Maybe you've made a payment there. Maybe you have regular maser payments going there. Maybe also when you come to Israel once a year in February, when you come for the Congress, maybe you made a payment there. Maybe you even made it in not in credit. Maybe you put it in a cash in some envelope and put it there as a donation for the building, for BB, for something. We are building such a system that will hold all of that information and track it and have this data available automatically to check as soon as before you're going to get your monthly billing. The system will check any place you may have contributed or paid maser and sum that up from the last 12 months. And if that amount is $720 or more, then automatically you get a 55% discount, which means that instead of $60, you will pay $27. And that, of course, is much closer to what we're all paying today. So that's the idea. And so this way, those who don't donate regularly or don't contribute or pay maser, they will now have the opportunity to pay the tuition and share the load with everyone. Those who are already doing that will only add that small amount that's required and not beyond that. And this is essentially the idea of the new tuition model. Again, this is the foundation for everything that we want to do, for everything that we do every day, for the work of connection between us. We need systems, we need broadcast, we need Zoom accounts, we need people who will produce, people who will film, we need people who will come up with even content for the daily lessons. There's a system behind it. It doesn't just happen by itself. I also want to mention, by the way, that this is taking into account only the services that the building and everyone in it and all of the services we purchase and so on, everything that serves the entire global Kli. In other words, for example, I live in Petach Tikva. I go to the center every day and I drink coffee there, and I also drink tea sometimes. And the tuition fee doesn't pay for that. I pay in addition, of course. Everyone who lives in Petach Tikva and comes to the center pays for whatever additional cost of what we are using just for us there. So the tuition fee covers everything that BB needs in order to serve the world globally. It also doesn't cover specific projects in dissemination. The amount we collect from Maser or any kind of revenue serves that. So the tuition is designed for everyone to share the load equally all over the world as much as possible, to be partners in sharing what we ourselves are using. Okay? What we ourselves are, as a community, as a global community, are using each and every day. That's what it's designed for. Okay? A few more things and then we'll go to questions. If you are a couple, if you are a BB couple, that means you can share the load together. What does that mean? If our system knows that you're a couple, and I'll explain how to make sure in a moment, we will tag your donations together as a single pool. What does that mean? That means that the combined total of your donations or maser payments will be the amount that we look at when the system is looking to give you a discount. I'll give an example. Let's say, I hope Albert will forgive me, but he came to my mind. We have a great friend, Albert, and his great wife is also a friend. This is a great BB couple to be admired for their greatness of the goal and commitment to the path, Albert and Fiona, right? So, for example, because they are a couple and they will let the system know, we will tag them as a couple. And now, whatever each of them donates or maser they pay, that is considered one pool. And now, when comes the billing day for each of them, the system will look at whether their pooled donations together, whether that covers the annual tuition fee. If it covers it once, one of them will get a discount. If it covers it twice, both of them will get the 55% discount, regardless of who donated how much. They're like a single person donating together. And that should also help couples who are on the path together. So if you are a BB couple, all you need to do is send an email to help@kli.one. I'll repeat this email in the end as well. help@kli.one. If you are a BB couple, just say, hey, I'm Albert, Fiana's my wife. We're both studying together. We're a BB couple. Thank you. And we will tag you as a couple, and then your donations will be pooled, and that means it'll be easier for you to get a discount. Okay? Lastly, and this is very important, no one is left behind here. The goal is to help everyone stay part of the system and contribute to the system. And if you have a genuine financial need, don't hesitate. Feel free to ask for that help if you need it. If you need it, because it's our shared responsibility here. At the end of the day, this model makes sure that everyone pays together for everything that we need on a regular basis for our spiritual development. That's the idea here. If I have a genuine financial need, I should say so. But if I don't have such a need, I should give my part. If I do have such a need, definitely you should ask for it. And then some discount can be given on based on that individual request. Again, I can't stress this enough. Don't feel ashamed to ask if you need to. We've already gave over 1 million shekels in Help Haver scholarships. It's not a shame to ask for it if you need it. And it could be a temporary discount. That's also very customary. Sometimes a person is in a crunch financially. A person loses their job or some other disturbance. God forbid something health-wise happens and a person needs more funds all of a sudden. All kinds of things can happen. We want to make sure that this doesn't stop your spiritual development, your spiritual progress, your participation with your 10 and so forth. And so it's very possible to also provide some sort of a temporary discount. Again, these discounts will be looked at based on individual requests. So if you need to, go for it. Ask for it. And while we're at it, I'll also tell you that you can give to Help Haver. If you're a friend who can help Haver, who can help other friends, and you want to contribute to this fund, you can do it directly. Just go to give.kli.one. Let me show you the English version of this site. So right here in give.kli.one, right here there's a Help Haver banner. You can make a one-time donation, a recurring payment, or you can ask for help as well. Okay? So if you need to, ask for help. If you can help someone, that's the place to do it. All right? This is mostly it. I will go to questions in just a second. But even after this presentation, if questions arise, anything at all, if you're a couple and you want to let the system know, you're not sure exactly what group you're in, whatever it is, any kind of question, there's a team now that's dedicated to specifically answering these questions. Just email help@kli.one. Secondly, this website, I encourage you, it's very simple, kli.one/FAQ. And I encourage you to go there, and if you're not sure, if you want to make sure that the information you have in your mind is the right information, this is a page in English with frequently asked questions about this, why we're shifting to this new tuition fee model, basically the stuff that I explained, what's the difference between what we paid so far and this, how is it going to work, the different tiers, how the payments are done in practice. Everything here should help clarify if you need that. All right. Okay. So we still have some time for questions. So do we have any questions? I see Nick raising his hand. So let's start there. John, you want to moderate this, or should I just go with Nick? I don't know if you're getting maybe questions elsewhere.
Go ahead with Nick, and I'll check the chat after. Go ahead, Nick.
1 second, there's a quick one from Tom. Nick, 1 second, I now see in the chat too. There's a quick one from Tom. Tom is asking if we've been paying Maser to BB North America via PayPal. Are we able to get the discount? Yes, absolutely yes. At the moment, that system is in the works. That's what I explained before. There's a huge technological endeavor now. We're working, all of the departments are basically working to connect to that information. And yes, the idea is that wherever you donate or pay maser, that information will be collected to calculate your discount when with the monthly payment. So let's go to Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Asaf. Yeah, so I was just thinking about all this a lot. If your goal is to have everyone pay their fair share, to ask America to pay the same amount seems like a hasty generalization. America is like 50 different countries. It's not the same as, somewhere homogenous like Israel. There's no need to invent a new system. The system already exists. In the military, we have basic allowance for housing, and it's based off the cost of living. And there's a huge difference in cost of living between, let's say, major metropolitan areas like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Northern Virginia, DC, and then
Yes.
and then like you have the South, Deep South, Midwest. I mean, those are huge ranges of
Yes.
cost of living. So this actually seems like the opposite of fair share, and it seems like a gross miscalculation.
Okay, let me explain. First of all, it's a good comment. Nick is right. 50 countries in the US, the cost of living in Tennessee is not the same as in New York City, right? For example. I'll tell you even more than that. We sat together all the heads of languages, and we heard that in Italy, for example, it's a very similar situation. Italy is considered Group A, but there are vast areas in Italy where, and a lot of our friends are from there, some places in southern Italy and so forth, where it's a very different reality. So you're absolutely right. We looked into what it takes, however, to try and calculate per person or per area, and that becomes very messy very quickly. It's not that simple to do. What is simple to do is to trust the friends, and that's what we're doing here, to tell us that they need a discount. Also, one of the reasons that came up for that, and we heard this from heads of languages in again exactly this thing that you brought up. It's a good point. Some people said correctly that they know that there are friends with different financial situations who are even living in the same area. How can you account for that? You can have the same Tennessee with one friend, earning this amount and another friend in the same place earning another amount. So in short, we need to know that from you, and we will absolutely take that into account. This is why I stressed it very, very strongly. Help Chaver is not something you should be ashamed of. It's not something you should be, you should watch from requesting, from asking for. If you have a problem paying that $60 per month, or paying 20 something depending on if you're getting the discount, let us know. Let us know. There will be absolutely, there will be support for that. Okay, so and you're right. Listen, maybe in the future we'll be able to perfect the system even more, and maybe in advance we could look at these considerations. But at the moment, this is how it works. This is the answer. If a friend looks at the monthly payment and says, "Wow, this is too much for me because so and so," help Chaver. That's your address. Okay. And again, also, I remind you again, if you are a regular donor or maser payer, you will get the 55% discount. It won't be significantly a lot more than what you're paying today. It will be just a little bit more. I see a question from Attila. 1 second, until when can we go? We have, I think in 6:30, like in 5 minutes from now, 6:30 is Israel time. I think Mushi is going to go live for an hour about the same topic, also answering questions for everyone in the world. So I do think it's a good idea to tune into that. as well. And we will talk about this more in the coming weeks to make sure everyone understands exactly why and how this is going to work. Okay, so even if you don't have time for in the next 5 minutes to get your questions answered, you can also always send an email. You can also ask Mushi right now in a few minutes from now if that works out for you, and we will make sure that every question is answered. Okay, so for now we have a few minutes. Let's do Attila. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, quick question. Those of us that are members of COBU, we pay somewhere around $600, $700, $800 a year in annual fees already. Would this be a replacement of that annual fee or incremental to it, or again, the same kind of discount model apply? How does that work together?
Right. So I'll answer this shortly, and if it doesn't answer you completely, then we can continue that afterwards. CubU is our education platform. It teaches students from the very beginning of their Kabbalah studies. In the very beginning of their Kabbalah studies, they don't use the BB services that we all use on a regular basis. And so their payment pays for the CobU services that they're getting. It's a different system and a different payment. At some point in a person's CobU journey, they begin to pay for the Arvut system. They begin to be part of the World Kli after they've finished their foundational, study of the basics. And at that point, we need to look at each and every person's situation. If a person still uses CobU services, they pay for that separately. If a person doesn't use CobU services, then they wouldn't pay for it. And if they do use the ongoing community services of BB, then they would pay the tuition fee. Can there be a situation when a CobU student continues to use some CobU services and pay for them while also paying the tuition fee? It's possible. It's possible if that's a person's situation. Okay. More questions? We can take maybe one more actually. Now that I'm seeing like one more, really quick one, and we can read something before we make sure everyone's available to join Mushi's broadcast. Yeah.
Shana spoke about clarification. If a friend is limited financially or on a strict budget, should that friend write to Help Haber or to help at Kli.one? Or does
Thank
it
you,
matter?
Jana. Everything. Okay, so Help Haver, there's Help Haver for congresses. There's Help Haver for the Arvut system. Now it's going to be for the tuition fee. So Help Haver is generally, the fund. If you want to contribute to Help Haver, go to give.kli.one. If you're limited financially and you need help for the tuition with the tuition fee, email help@kli.one, the address that's on the screen right now. Okay?
Okay, I think that's time for us. So 11:29.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much, Asaf, for that information. Friends, let us rise above the numbers and let's remember the purpose behind this. Every contribution we make is an opportunity to strengthen our shared vessel and support the growth of the English Kli.
Excuse me, can I just clarify about Help Haver? So you have this option Help Haver under your payment from your virtual profile in virtual house. You select payment like you want to pay, and then you have three options: automatic payment, monthly payment, regular one-time payment, and third option, Help Haver. And you submit this request to Help Haver, and then it will be reviewed and processed. If you just send email to Help Kli.one, we will just reference you to the same request. Okay.
Thank you, Leah. It's already time to go to the Arvut system. Thank you very much. As Leah said, write an email. Thank you, friends, for your connection. Thanks, Asaf, for all the support. And friends, let's go to the Arvut team, talk with the CEO, and we'll clarify more information about that. it's time. There's no time for music, but thank you very much for the connection.
Thank you, friends.
Time.
Bye-bye.
Let's go
Time,
to
friends.
the system.